Man, so Phantom is down 40% over the last 7 days. Total value locked has fallen by 40%. Yes, after Andre Cronje's attempted rug pull. I'm going to stick to that. It was an attempted rug pull. What he did, we can see Phantom is down quite severely. But in this video, I'm going to explain to you why this 40% drop is nothing but taking candy from a baby. This is the kind of trades which I love, because whenever a project falls for no apparent reason, with where things are just overcooked and over exaggerated, that is when I like to take it. I always use the example of Tesla when a FUD piece of article comes out saying Tesla autopilot crashed. On those days, I always go and buy just a little bit more to make me happy. Because when those pieces of news come out, which has nothing to do with the underlying project, that is what matters. I'm also going to play with you 3 or 4 key clips from Michael Kong. Yes, the CEO of FANTOM has finally come out and spoken in his first interview in the open since Andre Cronje left. We're going to play exactly what he feels, so make sure you stay tuned because we're going to go through that. But as you can see straight away in the charts, we're bleeding here on the Phantom charts, right? To the downside. If we head over to CoinGecko, we're down 37.6% over the last 7 days here on Phantom. If we look at TVL, 40% down over the last 7 days. Yes, this is all thanks to Andre Cronje. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I'll leave the card somewhere here for you to watch his, what he did and what the attempted rug pull was all about. Really important that you go watch that video. We've had 10,000 people, over 10,000 people watch my explanation of what happened in that emergency Sunday video. But today, what we're going to do is we're going to listen to Michael Kong. So stick with me. I'm not going to pause it too much. I want you to hear it verbatim from Michael Kong, because he doesn't come on too often. It's really important we hear exactly what he has to say. If you want to watch the full video, I'll leave the link in the description. Shout out to ricetvx.com who managed to get the scoop on this interview. Guys, head over to Twitter. We offered Michael Kong and Simone Pomposi, who's the CMO, to jump onto this show and to explain to you guys, the community, exactly what is going on. We want them to front up, give these interviews and explain to the community what's going on, because we've taken a 40% hit on something we had no idea about. It's really important that the Phantom Foundation and community step up to alleviate any fears, and at least Michael Kong has put up this interview. So let's take a listen and hear what's going on. And the first bit I wanted you to hear about was just about here. And what he talks about here as an important point, before we get into the Andre Cronje section, I'm going to play you 2 bits. And the first bit you're going to love, because it's about the Phantom virtual machine and how they're trying to bridge dApp developers over. Have a listen.
Programming language, but this is a programming language a lot of developers are familiar with, and building Solidity is getting better over time. It has to be said. And so, for pragmatic reasons, we wanted to integrate directly with the EVM. So from the get-go, we will be able to, pitch to Ethereum developers, hey, you know how to build on Ethereum? Why not try building on Phantom as well? Because you can build on Phantom, you can take advantage of the faster and cheaper consensus, and you can still maintain your application on Ethereum if you want. But just give us a try. And I think that sort of argument is one of the reasons why it helped grow Phantom so big, because people could start experimenting with Phantom. They could see that Phantom was real, that it was working, and that just encouraged more developers, more users, this virtual cycle of network growth that has led to Phantom being, a very big chain right now.
As you can see, guys, that was something we've been speaking about for a long time. Phantom is fundamentally a superior chain to Ethereum. However people want to say it. Yes, it hasn't got the adoption that Ethereum's got, but it is a better chain. It's faster, it's more secure, it's more scalable, right? This is better versus the congestion we're seeing on Ethereum. And the fact that it accepts the Solidity language, what Michael Kong is saying is what we've said in many videos, which is a dApp developer, without taking the risk of coming off of Ethereum, can almost copy and paste their app and put it on Phantom as well. So it's an absolute no-brainer. It makes people's job, like Michael's, far easier to attract talent to the Phantom ecosystem. So that's the first thing I wanted to play. And the next thing I wanted to play to you guys, which is very important and it's going to help you understand what's going on, is what he said around incentives. Now, for those of you who aren't aware, we've covered this again on the channel. Phantom is one of the best incentive mechanisms of bringing people across to DeFi on Phantom. They give the project free Phantom rewards to grow the project if they can grow the total value locked. And this is one of the reasons we've seen Phantom's total value locked on DeFi really grow rapidly, and it's already was in top 4, is in 4th spot before the small dump we've had recently. Just goes to show that in terms of DeFi, Phantom is one of the hottest layer 1 solutions. But remember I said it's not enough. They need to get into gaming, they need to get into NFTs, they need to be as superior as some of the other blockchains where Solana has a leap or Luna has a leap in algorithmic coins, stable coins, or where Cardano is doing better in certain areas. That's what Phantom needs to jump on. And you can see he's covered that off here, which gives us great confidence on top of it. So let's just play you that clip.
Last year, we announced that we were going to have a Phantom incentive program, and it began first of all with DeFi. And so, yeah, at the time it was 370 million FTM, and it's over like a long period of time. The whole purpose of it is to help grow the Phantom ecosystem. So, like, the bigger basically your decentralized finance project is, the more incentives you get, and it has to be used specifically to help grow your project on Phantom. We're going to have incentive programs released also for NFTs, like gaming and like metaverses and NFT platforms that are based on like similar ideas. And it's all about growing the Phantom ecosystem. So right now in the Phantom ecosystem, I think the number one use case has been DeFi, and that's because that's how the initial growth for Phantom started. That's what a lot of people use DeFi. That's what a lot of people use Phantom for, which is why it's one of the highest TVL chains out there. But on the flip side, on the NFT side, we have some NFT growth. We have some metaverses and games being deployed on Phantom. But to be honest, it's not as big as, say, other layer ones out there, and certainly not on the same size as, say, Ethereum. So we also want to help grow that side of the ecosystem, because NFTs is a big use case that people are looking to use. And it's something that I think will grow organically over time anyway, because I think what's important to note is that the Phantom ecosystem, it consists of a lot of community members, right? So a lot of the stuff that's been launched on Phantom is purely from the community. In fact, almost every
I want you guys to listen to this bit as well, because he emphasizes how organic Phantom is. Remember what I said. One of the reasons Phantom's going to take longer to get into the stratosphere, it's not VC backed, but that's a pro. Remember Solana. Why do I not want to overload my position on Solana? Because I know there are so many VC funds holding Solana who bought in so cheap. They're waiting to dump the market, okay? Phantom did not take VC backing. It's community built. It's people like you and I talking about it, or the Twitter community talking about Phantom, organically building projects on Phantom.
Every single application that you see on Phantom right now, whether it's Spooky Swap, Spirit Swap, Scream, and NFT marketplaces, they're almost entirely from the community. So this is not like myself. This is not the foundation. This is not anyone in particular telling them to build something on Phantom. This is just them coming organically to Phantom, discovering it, via the internet, and saying, okay, this is an interesting chain. I want to deploy in it. I want to build stuff on it. So the growth that you see here, we didn't pay people to.
Really interesting. Like you can see, he's not paid anybody. It's organic. People are coming across, they're seeing it's a great blockchain, and they want to invest and build in
to deploy on Phantom. We haven't, hired people to deploy on Phantom. It's just a community that's done it. So all these applications you see on your screen right now, it's all from the community. It's not to do with the foundation. And I think that's amazing to see that pretty much all of this growth has just been organic.
And that's important to hear, because remember, we know with all this Andre Cronje FUD, it's easy to think, oh, there's a couple of guys at the top who are building all these great projects, and the 12 billion in DeFi total value locked is all thanks to these two people. It doesn't work like that, guys. Phantom's a little bit more advanced than that. You've got to give it the credit for what it deserves. Now, let's move on to the Andre Cronje issue, because he tackles it pretty nicely and pretty head on, and he's got some strong words to say about it. So let's get straight into that segment, which is about here.
Referring to.
Yeah, so if I can address the first thing that you said like Anton and Andre were like a big part of the team. Well, Anton and Andre were not officially part of the team, except for Andre being as an advisor. And this is something that I really want to point out very importantly to the audience, right? Because I want to correct, a lot of misconceptions are out there. Like, one of the big misconceptions that I've seen is that people say that, oh, Andre built Phantom technology. He is a core developer. He's the one that built it all. That's not true at all. That is simply not true. So you can go, for example, to our GitHub repository, go-opera. That's the code base. It's all open source. Every commit is open source. And this is the technology that underpins the Phantom mainnet. This is what gets everything to run, what gets transactions to be confirmed across the different validators, etc. And if you look at the commits, you will see that it's from developers who are not Andre, right? These are developers, some of whom have been working with Phantom for the past 3 to 4 years. And they're the ones that have built the technology. And it's honestly like a little bit disparaging to them when people say, oh, it's just Andre who built everything.
This is good, guys. This is good. This is a good refutation. It just reminds people, like, guys, come on, use your common sense. And this is why this 40% for me is just pure. This is freebie. This is free money. Like the earned money is running Phantom from its all-time highs to new highs, like get to $5 and $10. This 30-40%, I'll take it. If you're selling, I'm picking that up, because you can see project. How can you think, like, do you really think Andre Cronje is running 25 projects? Come on, guys.
Andre was not involved in the building of the technology that we have now. Andre played a big role early on, very much so with Phantom, because he helped me, build the original, the team of developers that we have right now that have built this technology. And we discussed, several ideas as to like how to approach, achieving consensus and processing transactions asynchronously. But that was the extent of his involvement. So he helped us set the foundation, so to speak, of the development that took place. But it wasn't him that did the development. And as you can see on your screen there, you scroll, you will see that this is not Andre Cronje that appears on the commits. These are other developers.
I haven't seen the name yet.
No, exactly, for years. And they're the ones that are 100% committed to Phantom.
Very important. He's not been on the commits for years, guys. Years. That's a huge difference.
They are 100% still on the team, and they are the ones that are working on the next set of releases that we've got coming up. Like I've kind of described before, SnapSync, which allow you to sync nodes, much faster than you can currently do. Well, on the testnet, you can set the whole network in under 10 minutes, as opposed to like many hours.
That's a good refutation there by Michael Kongu, saying, look, guys, you serious? You really think it's Andre Cronje doing all of this right now? Let's also see what he has to say here.
Yeah, and to be fair to Anton, he tried to clarify it a bit later. The problem is that, the way...
See, now they're talking about the tweet that Anton Nell sent out. Michael Kong is saying, it's a bit misfortunate. I think he's mincing his words here a little bit. Just say, this is wrong. And the other thing I'd want to ask Michael Kong if he's on is, did you know about this? When did Andre or Anton Nell make you aware as Phantom Foundation? Or did they make you aware that they're leaving the projects? And what was that handover process? Was there a handover process? Or did Andre literally just hang up his coding tools and say, I'm done, without informing anybody? I'd want to know that. Let's put the blame where it deserves to be.
That, Twitter works, and the way that media works is that, the first thing you say is the thing that they run with, right? People look at the first tweet and then they panic. They don't actually look in to say, okay, how much of it is this true? Is this misunderstanding? This doesn't really make sense, because we know that there are developers behind multi-chain, for example, or Yearn Finance, or in particular.
But let's be fair to the community as well. I'm the first to say to the community, guys, do not panic. Things like this, always look into the detail, have conviction. You can't let little posts like this FUD you out. But let's be real. In a crypto space, which at times can be like the Wild Wild West, we have plenty of rug pulls, we have plenty of scams and frauds. When you see a tweet like that from Anton Nell, it's going to spook people. Even the best intentioned people, it's going to spook them. It's going to make them second guess. And particularly people who are inexperienced at crypto, it's going to shake them to their boots. So I'd put the onus on the foundation, particularly Phantom Foundation. Say, what happened? When did you know about it? And could you have eased the blow? If you were blindsided as Phantom Foundation, that's different. If Andre Cronje and Anton Nell didn't tell you about it, and the first you knew about it was the tweet, then you get a pass. Then you were getting the information the same time as us, which makes sense why Phantom then scrambled to get a response out.
Particular, of course, Phantom, and actually do a bit more research. I think a lot of people would just kind of like see the first tweet and then they panic, and then they exit from the ecosystem. They exit from the other projects that were also negatively affected by that. So it wasn't just Phantom, and it's really unfortunate to see. But all I've tried to do in the past 3 days is just tell people the truth, because the truth is very different from what I think some people in the community think. Because I think some people think that Andre is just this like really like badass developer who can just like run 25 projects by himself. Him and Anton, and that's of course simply absurd, right?
He's not Superman. You mean he's not? Yeah. He's not Superman.
No, because he's a very, very smart developer. He's a very smart guy, for sure. But no one, no matter how smart they are, can run 25 projects, right? So, just thinking about this logically, it doesn't make sense, right? And then, you look, for example, like on the commits, like you've shown on GitHub, and just all the activity on the ecosystem. That's not Andre who's built those thousands of applications. That's not Andre that's built the underlying core technology. That's not Andre that's working on new improvements that are coming to the network. It's not Andre that's working on, you know, the middleware developments, right? Where that's not his specialty. You know, his specialty is more on consensus and smart contracts, right?
Nicely said, Michael. That's it. It's not Andre doing this, guys. So when you see 30-40% down, it's crazy because all those systems, all the team members who've been working on Phantom all this time, they're still there. Nothing's fundamentally changed. And therefore, the 30-40% discount you're seeing right now is an absolute freebie. Let's also fast forward here because he says there's a little bit more to say, which I think is an important piece around a project not necessarily having a key figurehead. He touches upon that. Let's see what he has to say.
I don't mean to take anything away from Andre. Andre has been absolutely fantastic. He's a great advisor. He's someone that's been great to talk about and bounce ideas off of. But his involvement is not to the same extent as people make it out to be. And I think this is one reason why he doesn't really want to be public anymore, why he's told people he's out of crypto, because he doesn't want it to be seen as some sort of like godlike figure, right? As like this like messiah who, you know, can like solve everybody's problems. You know, something goes wrong with a smart contract or somebody loses money, you know, he doesn't want to be blamed for it, right? Because I think a lot of people have been doing that, and they've been doing it very, very unfairly. And, you know, it's an enormous burden to have on your shoulders, you know, when you have like literally like a million.
So Michael's touching upon the narrative that Andre is actually leaving because he's fallen out of love in crypto. And I think if we're going down that route, then first of all, completely respect that that's his personal decision. Yes, we can't even imagine the pressure he's on when you've got millions of people, you know, tweeting at you to say, oh, can you fix this? Can you fix this? What's going on? It's a lot of pressure for one person. But I'd still question the way he went about it. And it doesn't make sense that till the last moment he launched solidly. If he was falling out of love with crypto, he would have learned that from the previous projects he's worked on and launched. Why would he have launched another one? It's an interesting one.
Million people messaging you and saying like, oh my gosh, like do this, do that, you know, Andre, do something, right? And I can tell, and I can understand why he's kind of sick and tired of that. And I think that's why it's important to illustrate that, you know, Phantom is not just Andre, and Yearn is not just Andre. You know, Yearn team, founder put out a tweet saying, you know, to all those that want to bury Yearn, you know, you realize that Yearn, that Andre hasn't worked on the Yearn code since August 2020.
So there you go, guys. I think that pretty much sums it up. If you want to watch the full video, I'll link that in the description. But in essence, what we can see is that Phantom is far more than Andre Cronje, right? And that is why, for me, these dips in the chart, these kind of events, and let's use this as a lesson for all coins. When we see events like this, which has no fundamental bearing on what's going on, it's just an overreaction to news. It's a misunderstanding. It's people not doing their research properly. That is the easiest return you will ever make in crypto, on the stock market, or anywhere else. I've been doing this for years in the stock market. That's exactly how I'd make my returns. Just wait for people to misunderstand things, to take it out on the stock price, and then later in they buy back at the higher prices. Why? Because they don't have the conviction, they don't do the research, they don't understand what's actually going on. And when you do that, and hopefully that video gives you a bit of insight into what's actually going on with Phantom, shout out to Michael Kong and obviously the clip here at Rice TVX. Again, links will be in the description to watch that full clip. Go head over to Twitter, guys. Tag Michael Kong and Simone Pomposi. I've tweeted both of them. Go back down a couple of tweets ago. Tag them and tell them you want to hear them speak on this show. You want to hear from them. You want to know what's going on. And let's do a more detailed dive. Certain questions which weren't covered on there that I want to put straight to Michael Kong and say, what happened? When did you know about it? And what could have been done to avoid this, and where do we go from here? Thanks for watching this video, guys. Smash up the like. Don't forget to check out NordVPN. Links in the description. 70% off for you to stay safe in crypto. Absolute no-brainer. $2 or $3 a month, guys. Stay safe in crypto to make sure your privacy is there. You can mask your IP address. Nobody can track you. Super important. It's a basic if you're trading crypto, if you have any serious money. Thanks for watching, everybody. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to link up the video to the Andre Cronje rug pull video. If you haven't watched that, go watch that. Make sure you understand exactly what's going on, because right now you've got a suppression in the price, and this is the kind of price point that we need to take advantage of, particularly if you haven't started your position or you want to build out your position a little bit more. Not financial advice, but these are the moments where we have to stay clued on. Thanks for watching the video, guys.